Now, they playing bad, scared. All right, I was like, can't do the whole thing, but you get where I'm going. I was like, it take two to make a thing go right. Yeah, can't. I was like, that's all I got for the Light Mike song. But anyway, here we are for the East storylines and things to watch out for or whatever. Like I said in my West one, I was like, I'm not necessarily doing standings. I'm really just talking about each team or whatever. Like I said, the game. I was like, the season starts around the 90-degree angle around that corner, and unlike the West, the parity here is not the same thing. I was like, you really got this pretty much the same set of teams that's in the standings, in the eight standings. I'll give you playing because they're pretty much going to be the same thing. But anyway, let's just get on with them because I was like I said, the East isn't that spectacular. Let's go on to the bottom because there's several teams here. Let's go with the Pistons. Okay, gave Cade Cunningham the money, so who else show up? Who else develops? Who else comes out as basically building blocks at this moment? You're just sort of hoping for that in this situation. There's really no other. It's bleak. But on the other side, the Hornets health. That's really what it is. LaMelo Ball. I was like, hadn't been healthy in a while or enough to, really showcase what he's basically done since he made the All-Star game. Same thing with Mark Williams, Bridges, and his bullshit that he just sort of had in the last like year or so. So, and after playing last year, how does he do with a whole year? Can they all gel? You got rid of PJ Washington and stuff like that. So can they all gel? Brandon Miller, who was totally the second pick and turned out to be really good. Can they all gel to do something? Because I like if they're healthy, I think they can make him for a playing spot. I was like based on the talent level of a lot of those players, but health is the biggest thing. The Raptors, what does he just look like? Is Scotty Barnes be a top guy like how they're positioning him to be, basically where he could be the lead of the team, and basically just seeing what you got with everybody on that team, just seeing who's real and who's not. Especially after the trade with the Knicks, of you getting quickly into R.J. Barrett, just seeing how it all looks, to be honest. But they're really sort of just trying to feel like get themselves a good pick. Let's see, the Wizards. Bilal, seeing how he does, yeah. I was like, Sar. Hopefully, though, his preseason was just an anomaly. We're gonna be like, damn, look how good he is. He was, you know what it might be like how basically like remember Jamar Chase was dropping all those passes in the preseason, and it was like a sort of a thing or whatever like that. But then guess what? Then the season started, and that dude just came out straight balling. That's what you sort of hope. I think with Sar that he does. Uh, yeah, the Nets. Draft. To be honest, that's it. They don't even have players on their team to trades. Yeah. There's nothing really. There ain't nothing there. I was like, I should have started with them because I was like, they might be actually working. At least the Pistons got players or whatever that you want to see how they develop. You don't really care about anybody on the Nets. Yeah. So I think I'll go with the Hawks. After that, I was like, what do you do with Trae Young and the Zach Ryan kid? I think I said his name right. Yeah. What does he develop in? I think once the game started playing, I was like, it's gonna be a minute, but I was like 6'8". I was like 6'8" guard basically. I was like, I think he'll find his way. It's gonna take a minute, but I think him and Trae Young can work. I was like, but once again, what are you gonna do with Trae Young? That's sort of the deal. The Bulls, what the hell y'all doing? What the hell? But I will say, Lonzo Ball coming out and showing that he is up and he's made a comeback and ready to play, I think is a good sign. Whether or not how it goes, I was like, that's a good sign that you will take. I was like, they'll be in the play-in because they're always sort of around that type of spot. I was like, Zach LaVine, whether I was like, health for him. And I was like, seeing how I didn't expect Lonzo Ball to necessarily be back, but seeing how I was like, him and Giddy or whatever, because I was like, hey, I was like, it didn't work over there with Shea, but hey, 2-6-6 type of guards. And I was like, yeah, I know he was sort of unplayable during the playoff, but we're talking about the regular season. We'll worry about that other thing if we get there. But basically, he's still young enough to see how he develops. And maybe you can have some. I was like, yeah, he doesn't have the shooting, but if Lonzo can shoot like that, you got two playmakers at the top. I was like, that you can play through. That I was like, look, when I was like with Kobe White, there, I'm like, hey, look, the Bulls, y'all just gotta be trying stuff. That's what I'll just take it as. Y'all just gotta try stuff and see what works while you still got LaVine in his big ass contract. Yeah, I was like, I was like, I was like, oh, God, we're sort of reaching those teams. I was like, I'm not doing the listing, so I was like, we're gonna go with the Pacers. You get his name can't be Benedict, is it? Benedict Mathurin? Yeah. Him coming back healthy, of course. I was like, Tyrese Halliburton, what he showed last year, what he's actually going to be, because he was two different people. And it's like, I was like, yeah, he was injured, but when he's on, that dude's on. And when he's not, and sometimes he takes too many ill-advised shots, but then sometimes he also doesn't. Isn't aggressive enough when he has it going. So I think it's just all a bit about seeing what type of Tyrese Halliburton we get. I was like, and also them having a whole season with Pascal Siakam or whatever like that. Cause I was like, they show that they're better than just an up and coming team. Like they're actually a pretty good team with this fast pace. And can they, build a little bit of defense? Just a little bit of defense. That's all we're asking for with that situation. The Magic, basically, did they figure it out? Where it's like Suggs. You got KCP now. Frank can basically can his shooting get on top, but you found out you got a dude in Paolo or whatever like that. I still think they trying to figure out some of their pieces. But I was like, basically, can they build a cohesive, at least starting unit or whatever like that, and then work everything else between that? I was like, you're gonna have Suggs, KCP, like I said, Franz, Paolo, and I was like, it was Jonathan Isaac. There we go. I was almost like I'm blanking out his name. But yeah, basically, I was like, but I think they're right there. I think they showing the playoff. That I was like that. They're basically like Paolo take that next step. I think he's gonna be in the ant spot this year, where it's just like he take that next step to let y'all know, nah, I'm that dude and I'm here, kind of thing. I was like the Cavaliers. I think just sort of just I was like, did Mobley start showing you what everybody sort of wants for him to do to basically take that next step of being like, able to shoot the ball and basically taking over games. I was like, if he does that, I was like, you can sort of play the two bigs at the same time. I was like, especially when you got two smaller guards and stuff like that, it does help out because you sort of have, like, you keep the 2 7-footers there, it does help out those small guards or whatever like that. And then the Donovan side, can y'all just move on? Can you just move on? Yeah, I was like, so the Heat, to me, is really going to be health, Jimmy Butler. I was like, help because, Jimmy Butler gets hurt. I was like, Jaime got hurt in playoffs and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's really sort of their thing. But it's really going to be about Jimmy Butler because it all seems like it's his last year in some sense. He's not getting the contract. Are they going to trade him now? When are they going to do it? But it's going to probably ring his ugly head. And I was like, guess what? They're always going to be in the mix no matter how much we sort of just down and be like, oh, look at them, they're in the play-in or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're Miami, so we'll see. Basically, the Jimmy Butler saga. How does that all go there? Yeah, I was like over here just trying to look at the team, had to write down on the side or whatnot. I'm trying to keep. I was like the Bucks. Let's go with the Bucks. The Dame bounced back after the trade and his personal life and getting in shape and stuff like that? Does he bounce back to become Dame, or will we know to have a good tag team with Giannis? Can Chris Middleton stay healthy? Probably not. But the world may never know at this point. And also, how much can Dame and Giannis carry this team of some of these old bag of bones? Lopez, old. Kyneton doesn't seem like he's at all what he needs. They got Gary Trent Jr., so I was like, that's a pretty good spot in that situation. So, and I was like, DeLon Wright. So they got some pieces. So I was like, it's just basically, can they build off of that also along with the Doc Rivers switch out from last year as well too. I was like, but I think they should be. I think they should be solid. I think those Giannis enough is going to be able to carry them. Just because he's one of the better players in the league. Even though we sort of forget about him like he's nothing, and to me anymore. So I was like, we'll see about that one. But now we're going to get to the intrusion in the 76ers. Health. I think that's all it is. Health. Whether it be Paul George, Joel Embiid. Paul George already does it. I don't think he's going to start out the season. I was like, Joel Embiid lost some weight. They're not supposed to be playing back-to-backs this year, so we're going to see how that goes. But health. That's pretty much how it is. And is Paul George enough to have them get over that step? We'll see. We'll see. And if Joel Embiid can just make it through the playoffs and play good or whatever like that. Because I was like, I think Joel Embiid sometimes to me get a bad rap in a lot of situations or whatever like that. Like, I know that people talking about Tatum, but I was like, I feel like they both sort of get. I was like, they both get talked about upon. Don't get me wrong, Tatum gets it way worse, but I think Joel Embiid gets a bad rap in some situations, even though some of it is his fault, some of it's not his fault. But I still think that I was like, for other people, we over here just being like, well, they do so much for their team. And I was like, well, without Joel Embiid, their team would be shit. Anyway, then we got the Knicks, and it would be like, hey, how does this I was gonna say this Vanilla 4, but this Villanova 4, or well, not 4 anymore. Yeah, but how does they incorporate a full thing of OG, Mikal Bridges being there, but really it's gonna be really about Karl-Anthony Towns, to be honest. Now that's what this season turned into. Now it went from can they make it? Now it's like, will Karl-Anthony be the one that gets them up there, or also be the one to deter it? Because he's wildly talented. I was like, you could say for all the good, there's also the bad of being like, he can be the one that basically rockets y'all to no team pun intended to the finals, but he can also be the thing that keeps y'all away from the finals. That's going to be, how does he handle the city when things don't go well, especially because with at least with Minnesota, you're used to, I was like, being in Minnesota. It's not the same thing as the New York Knicks crowd and media, but also there was Anthony Edwards there who, got there, knew you, got your back. Whereas like you go in here and it's like, yeah, they got your back, but it's not the same thing or whatever. I was like, you're gonna have to be have your big boy pants on and take a lot of this stuff yourself in a way that you didn't really have to in Minnesota in the same way. Last but not least, Celtics. Can they repeat? That's it. I was like, was it a fluke? That whole type of thing. I was like, I still didn't. I was like, I'm not gonna even act like the Celtics were over here just like this some unbeatable juggernaut. I'm not gonna act like that either. So I was like, to me, I was like, I think they're vulnerable. I think they could be beaten. I was like, Tatum didn't give you any really like great performance. I was like, and I'm not saying that he didn't play good in the series and nothing like that, but I'm saying he didn't play great. He played really good. I was like, his defense was there. I was like, he was passing the ball really well, rebounding the ball. He was doing a lot of the intangible stuff that I was like, hey, what you sort of want from either your teammate that's not shooting well or whatever, or a leader on the team. I was like, I think that Tatum was doing all that. And Brown really stepped his game up too in a lot of spots too, and got his boy back. But I was like, Porzingis was really the one that turned the whole game in a lot of them situations, to be honest, at the same time. I think Porzingis wasn't there. I think it's a different game as we've seen how they try to save him for the finals. So, can this team repeat? Basically, but I think they'll make it through the season fine. I was like, it's not about the season for them; it's about to get into the playoffs. So I was like, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that they ain't gonna want the top seed. They gonna want the top seed. I was like, do they necessarily get it? I don't think so. I think kind of like I was like, I think they will just because they got so many pieces. To be honest, White, Holiday, Horford, Braylon Brown, they got so many pieces. But I was like, I could see them not getting one. I could see them getting two though. But yeah. Anyway, so that's the storyline for the East. Like I said, really only I was like, it's really only serious to me in like 5 spots. I was like, I think 5 teams really got a real legitimate shot. Whereas, like I said, the West, I think everybody sort of got a shot. Maybe not necessarily championship, but I don't think everyone does it at the same time. Like, the Grizzlies make it, I wouldn't be shocked, but at the same time, I wouldn't pick them either. Whereas, like the East, I'm like Celtics, Knicks, Sixers, Bucks, maybe Cavs. I was like, maybe that's what you sort of put. Yeah. Anyway, let me know what's your team, how you see the East outlook. What do you think? Something I missed? What's the storyline? Anyway, let me know. Peace. I'm out.